Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Praise be to Allah alone, who all praise Him and who seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is the truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, no one can show him guidance. I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship but Allah alone, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His last prophet and messenger. Brothers and sisters, welcome to a new edition of your program, Ask Huda. We'll be more than happy to receive your live calls and concerns. Phone numbers area code 002-0238-555, 248 or 249, and the email address is ask@huda.tv. Barakallahu feekum. I would like to begin by answering a couple of pending questions from the previous episode. The first one is from Ahmed from Nigeria. He said, what is the actual adhan time for the Asr prayer? The adhan is due upon entering the time of any prayer. And Jibreel alayhi salam came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi salam to educate him with regards to the prayer times. He came to him twice. Once at the earliest time of each prayer, and the second time at the last time of each prayer, to indicate this is the time, beginning and end for each prayer. So for instance, the time of Asr it begins at the end of the time of Dhuhr prayer. So what is the end of the time of Dhuhr prayer? Is when the shadow of an object, let's say this pen, a standing pen, it has a length. Let's say it is 6 inches, for instance. When we set the pen like that, perpendicular, under the sun, it will have a shadow. So when the shadow of that pen or any object, a standing man, a stick or whatever, becomes, the length of the shadow becomes double the length of the object itself, ظِلُّ الشَّيْءِ مِثْلَيْهِ, then that is the end of the time for Dhuhr prayer, and that is the beginning of the Asr prayer time, which is the adhan time as well. So if somebody is camping or going on the shore or going in a vacation, doesn't have a prayer table, it's very easy to figure out the Dhuhr prayer, the Asr prayer, and obviously Maghrib and Fajr and Isha, no big deal. For Fajr is the dawn. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَكُلُوا وَتَبَيَّنُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمْ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ. When it becomes clear to you that there is a separation, a distinction between the darkness of the night and the light of the day, this is the meaning of the white thread and the black thread. وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمْ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ, the white thread of the day, the light of the day, from the black thread, من الخيط الأسود, from the black thread which refers to the darkness of the night. And the end of the prayer time for Fajr is sunrise. And the Prophet ﷺ was asked about the best deed, and the deed is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الصلاة على وقتها, or الصلاة لوقتها, two different narrations, which means to pray at the earliest time of the prayer. So there is a due time, and there is an allowance where you can pray any time in between until it is the last time, where it becomes very dangerous, because if you miss the prayer, it becomes a major sin. If you delay or postpone the prayer from its fixed time until the prayer of the next, until the time of the next prayer has entered. So now, the beginning of Asr prayer is the end of Dhuhr prayer. When the shadow of an object, its length becomes twice the length of the object itself. Then, what is the last time for Asr? Because he asked about Asr especially, is sunset. In the hadith, which is collected by both Al-Bukhari and Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ said, من أدرك ركعة من العصر قبل أن تغرب الشمس فقد أدرك العصر. If you manage to pray one rak'ah before sunset, that means you have prayed Asr within its time. Of course, that should not be misunderstood as it's okay to delay the prayer until you are on the edge or you're close to miss its time. No, it means if you're on a journey, if there was a necessity, if you overslept, then you woke up. If you manage to pray one rak'ah of the Asr before sunset, that is the Asr time. And it also indicates that is the end of the Asr time and the beginning of the Maghrib time. That applies to every prayer approaching the end of that prayer and the beginning of the time of the following prayer. The Maghrib begins at sunset and it ends when the red light disappears. So it begins the time for Isha. The Isha prayer begins at this time and it ends at midnight. Not as many people think that the Isha prayer time is extended till Fajr. That is not true. Midnight is not always 12 a.m. Midnight is the result of dividing the entire time between sunset and dawn, Fajr, by 2. So if it is 6 hours, fine. If it is 6.5 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, more or less, sometimes it's only 3 hours. Some states, the time between Isha and Fajr is only 3 hours, depending on where you are on the map. The Dhuhr prayer, its time begins when the sun moves away from its meridian. That's called Waqtu Zawal. As Zawal is when the sun starts moving towards what? Moving from the middle of the sky towards the west. Because it's been rising from the east, and whenever it is in the middle, this is time where you cannot pray. Waqtu karaha, it is disliked. Then when the sun moves away from its meridian, this is the beginning of the Dhuhr prayer. And the end of the Dhuhr prayer time is when the length of the shadow of an object becomes twice as long as the length of the object itself. Barakallah fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have 2 callers from Nigeria. We'll take Uthman first. Assalamu alaikum. Then Abdullah from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, ya Sheikh. Wa alaikum assalam.
Yeah, Abdullah, I hear you. Assalamu alaikum.
My first question is, here in Nigeria, I've had some Sufi sects. They call their ulama by the name of Maulana, Sheikh, so and so. So I just want to inquire, is it appropriate for you to refer to someone as Maulana? My understanding used to be that Allah is the Mawla of everybody, as Allah said in the Holy Quran, ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ مَوْلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَأَنَّ الْكَافِرِينَ لَا مَوْلَى لَهُمْ. And then my second question is, if one wakes up late for Fajr, is it still appropriate to pray Rak'atan Fajr, or can one defy it?
No, can you repeat the second question again?
If one wakes up late for Salatul Fajr, by which time the sun has risen, can you still pray Rak'atan Fajr?
I got it. Okay. Okay.
Those are my questions.
Jazakallahu khairan, Abdullah. Uthman, please try again. Sister Hafsa from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Huda.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I want to ask you a question. What is the ruling on hijama in the light of Sunnah?
Okay.
It is recommended for what kind of diseases, please?
Is what?
What kind of diseases?
What kind of?
Diseases.
Diseases. Okay.
Yes. and is it a sunnah?
Okay. Thank you, Hafsa. Abdullah from Nigeria said that some groups in Nigeria, they call the scholars Maulana, Sheikh such and such or whatever. While we know that the word Maulana has been mentioned in the Quran, that Allah is the Mawla and the Wali of the believers, the guardian of the believers. And also, if you remember in Sirah, after the Battle of Uhud, when Abu Sufyan said, لَنَا الْعُزَّى وَلَا عُزَّى لَكُمْ, we have the Uzza, their idol, on our side. You guys don't have any Uzza, that's why you were defeated. The Prophet ﷺ ordered Umar ibn Khattab to reply to him, and he said, say, Allahu Mawlana wa la mawla lakum. Allahu Mawlana wa la mawla lakum. Allah is our protector, and you have no protector. Allah is our guardian, and you have no guardian. So the word Mawla, whenever it is ascribed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it means the divine guardianship and protection, al-walaya. But meanwhile, the believers, one to another, are supporters and protectors. وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتُ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. So whenever this word is mentioned as a mean of respect to the scholar, I know that in the Indian subcontinent, in Bangladesh, in some parts of the world, they use this word very often to respect their scholars. It is permissible. It is not a prohibited word, because it does not attribute to a human being some of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Especially, we know that these are human beings. It's just a word of respect that he is our leader. If you say Shaykh and that's it, that is better, but the other one is not prohibited. Rak'atay al-Fajr, or praying the 2 rak'ahs, the sunnah before Fajr, are of great importance, because the Prophet ﷺ said they are better than the whole world and what it contains. So brother Abdullah says if he gets up late and he did not pray Fajr on time, if the time allows you to pray both the sunnah, then the Fajr prayer before sunrise, fine, go ahead and pray. But if the time is very short and it will barely suffice you to pray Fajr, obviously then begin by praying Fajr. Then 20 minutes past sunrise, you can pray the 2 rak'ahs, the sunnah of Fajr, you can make it up, of course. Similarly, if somebody woke up after sunrise and he wants to pray Fajr, begin by praying the 2 rak'ahs, the sunnah of Fajr, before praying or offering the Fajr prayer. Sister Hafsa asked about the hijama. Is it sunnah? Yes, it is a sunnah. And emphasized too, the Prophet ﷺ said, the cure is in 3 practices. One of them is al-hijama, or cupping. And the Prophet ﷺ got cupped. And he used to do that very often. And his companions, he said, al-shifa'u fi thalatha. There are 3 means for cure. Sharbatu asal, to drink honey, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, fihi shifa'ul linnas. In the pure honey, which comes from the honeybees, there is cure for those who are sick, for mankind. Fihi shifa'ul linnas. And the second mean is shartatu mihjam, the incision which the person who is doing cupping would do in order to extract the ruined blood from that spot. And the third is branding, and the Prophet ﷺ said, and I forbid you from branding. So the 2 most advised means, drinking honey and al-hijama. And it is good for all diseases, of course, if it is advised by your physician, because for instance, you cannot do the wet hijama for a person who's diabetic. Then it would require medical supervision. You can do the dry hijama instead. Barakallahu fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Abu Yusuf from United Arab Emirates.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking, Abu Yusuf.
When we will see you, inshallah, here?
Inshallah, in a couple of weeks. We have a stop in the UK first, then inshallah we'll be there. Inshallah.
Inshallah, we'll see you. Sheikh, I have 3 questions.
Please.
The first one is we were discussing this about Fajr prayer. You were just explaining. I want to know if the time is sunrise. There is a particular time that sun sharuk is at particular time. How much time before or after sharuk we can pray?
Okay.
Question number 1. Question number 2 is if someone have property like a house or a building which is for business use. He earns money out of it, but he spends for his daily stuff, his daily life. So at the end of month or end of the year, he doesn't have any savings, in fact, but it's the money is coming from business. Does he has to pay zakah on that or no? The third question is, there was a sister, one of my friends, he used to tell his wife that don't visit your relatives. Is it allowed in Islam that we can tell our wives, don't go and visit your relatives or your parents or maybe other relatives? So, barakallah fi.
Wa fikum, Abu Yusuf, thank you so much. Sister Aisha from Egypt, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much for your programs. We're really grateful.
And thank you so much. Jazakumullahu khairan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so please, I'd like to ask you, what's the take on wearing perfume? There's this thing I've heard that it's like most fragrances contain alcohol. And then it's being said that the clothes you put on perfumes on shouldn't be prayed with. So I'd like you to elaborate on that.
Sure. Okay, Jazakumullah khairan. Abu Yusuf's first question, what time or how much time is needed to wait after sunrise in order to be able to pray? If you're talking about praying voluntary prayer, the duha, the shuruq, the ishraq, then approximately 20 minutes. But if somebody woke up and he wants to pray Fajr and it's already sunrise, whether it's time or 10 minutes or more or less, you can pray right away, because there is like times to pray during only for the nawafil, not for the fard or making up the missed fard. Jamila, assalamu alaikum from Nigeria.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Hello?
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Jamila, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah, go ahead, ask your question, please.
Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is, I'm a married woman, and I have a rival who is not godly. And our husband wants to, put us in the same house. I don't know the Islamic ruling because I don't want to be with her.
Okay. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you, Jamila. Abu Yusuf's second question. He has a house that he rents, and he spends out of this rent. So by the end of the lunar year, he doesn't have any saving. You don't owe any zakah on that. The zakah is on the balance. After spending for your basic needs, for your luxurious needs, you spend the money, then you don't owe zakah on it. For the maintenance of the property itself, for buying another property, as long as that money is spent, then it's not zakatable. You pay the zakah on the remaining balance after you spend whatever you spend, especially for your own consumption and your family members, of course. But if that money was deposited in another investment, then it will be zakatable if that investment was for business. But if you bought another flat to live in out of this money, then you don't pay the zakah on this money. Barakallahu fikum. A husband orders his wife not to visit her relatives. Is there a reason? If there is a legitimate reason, that's your right. He knows that this woman, when his wife visits her, she always comes back with bad thoughts, or she gets affected with the bad behavior, or this family, for instance, they live on haram. So if there is a legitimate reason, then you will not be blameworthy before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is your right to protect your family and the integrity of your family. But just out of prejudice, I don't like your family, I don't go there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us otherwise, to uphold the ties of our kinship, and you're ordering her to sever her relationship with her family members. That is not fair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mujibat from Nigeria. Sister Muhibat from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Please, I want to ask you for it. Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. My question is this. Please, some people said if you want to pray for the dead body, like maybe your father or your mother died, some of our ustaz say we can recite Surah Ikhlas for them as our parents or anybody that we can recite Surah Ikhlas. And some say there is no point of reciting Surah Ikhlas for the dead, So, and I'm get confused whether we can recite Surah Ikhlas for the dead, or you can recite any surah out of the Quran for the dead, for the dead ones. Second question. I want to know, as a student of knowledge, maybe during the menstruation, can someone carry the Quran or not?
Okay.
The third question is this. My teacher, that is my sheikh, he told me that if they want to greet someone, Islamically, there is no good to be portrayed, either to say, to at least to bend down a little bit for someone, because based on our culture in Nigerian is a Yoruba culture, we have respect. If you want to greet someone, you need to, for a woman, you will need them to greet her. For a man, you will need them to greet her to show the sign of respect that you respect the person. Either your mother or your elders ones, or someone that is above you, then you just need them to greet them. But based on what I had the knowledge, someone told me that Islamically it's not good to be kneel down or prostrate or showing of bend down a little bit for someone that is not good. That is showing as if you are worship the person that is against Islam. So I'm a little bit convinced. Even up to the moment now, if I want to greet my mother, I don't know how to greet her because of what I heard that it's not good to be laid down to greet. So I'm confused. Please, I want you to...
Yeah, your questions. Thank you, Sister Muhim. Sister Rabi from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum. Go ahead, Sister Rabi. I hear you.
Good afternoon. Good evening, Sheikh.
Good evening to you. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Okay. Please, I'm going to ask 3 questions.
Go ahead.
But the first one, I will explain the situation maybe so that you understand me better. From your previous act holder with your other Sheikh, he explains that maybe in a business transaction, somebody can buy something from another person, and if he needs the money, he can sell what he buys in order to get the money of whatever problem he has. So he said that one is allowed. So now my question is, for instance, if I want to enter a transaction with another person, he has his own money, then I want him to buy something for me. I am in business, then the other person has the money. So instead of me to collect the money and be paying him maybe with the interest, which is not allowed, so now can I ask him or her to buy the type of goods that I'm in business with?
Okay.
Fix the interest she needs, then she will buy the goods, not the money. The money will not come to me directly. It's only the goods, but I will tell her this is the sort of goods that I need. So I'm asking, is this type of transaction allowed in Islam?
Okay, your second question, please.
Profit sharing and loss sharing. Then another question is, maybe during prayers, when one is in a state of prayers, and he reached a place where he can recite dua like in Amana Rasulu, the last 3 verses, Rabbana la tu'akhidna. Is it allowed to raise up hands or during tashhud?
Okay. Thank you, Sister Rabbi. Got your question. Brother Isa, calling from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, ya Sheikh. My question is about prayer in congregation.
Yeah.
You may see some people well praying. They will be doing with imam, or some of them they were even doing. They want to do it even faster than the imam, because I can see in Saudi Arabia where many people gathered. You may see after the imam do the first salam, assalamu alaikum, before he turn to the other side, some they will do it with imam and follow him to the second side. What is the state of their salat?
Second question.
No, that is the question.
Okay, thank you, Isa. Barakallah fikum. Okay, I believe we have to take a short break, and inshallah Azza when we get back, we'll answer these pending questions and take some more of your valuable phone calls and concerns. So stay tuned.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose whom He wills subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy, for His messengership, for the revelation to be revealed. This is not for the human beings to make that decision. If a person would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, truthfully, asking for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to forgive. We have as Muslims a duty, and that is to recite the book of Allah, to ponder over the verses, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to act according to the Quran. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses everything, but who would this mercy will be for? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent to all mankind. So the ummah, or the people of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are all mankind since the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam till the day of judgment. Why waste our life without getting to know every verse in the Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us?
The Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, narrated that when Allah, glory be to Him, wishes good for someone, He bestows upon him understanding of the religion, and that Allah makes the path to paradise easy for those who seek knowledge. Preoccupied by work or family in the modern world, a Muslim may struggle to find time for acquiring Islamic knowledge. To ease this struggle, we are launching Huda Academy to be your gateway to online Islamic e-learning.
Enroll now and study from our renowned scholars. Learn Aqidah from Dr. Muhammad Salah.
Learn Fiqh from Dr. Hatim Al-Hajj.
Learn Hadith from Dr. Muhammad Saeed.
Learn Tafsir from Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan.
And learn Arabic from our professional instructors.
Successful graduates of Huda Academy will go through a final test and eventually receive a certificate of completion.
To enroll and learn more about Huda Academy, please visit us online at hudaonlineacademy.com.
Huda Academy, your gateway to authentic Islamic knowledge.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Aisha from Egypt asked about wearing perfumes which may contain alcohol as a vehicle. The scholars have two different opinions pertaining the najasa, the impurity of alcohol. Some of them believe that the impurity of alcohol is moral, in drinking, not in touching. The other group believe that alcohol is impure in itself even if you touch it, not just if you drink it. And this difference led to the following. They said you cannot use alcohol for anything that may come in contact with your body or your clothes, because one of the prerequisites of the prayer is at-tahara, the purity of the body, the purity of one's clothes, and the purity of the spot on which you offer the prayer. And Wallahu a'lam, the more right view is that alcohol is not impure in itself. The khilaf or the dispute between the scholar is very well known and it's outstanding. So if there is a perfume which is alcohol free, that is better, like oil base or whatever, of course. But according to the scholars who say that alcohol is not impure in itself, then wearing perfumes with alcohol is not prohibited, and it's not najis, and it would not nullify their prayer accordingly. Especially, it is claimed that the alcohol which is used in manufacturing perfumes as a vehicle is not the same alcohol which is prepared for drinking. Wallahu ta'ala a'la wa a'lam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Abdul Rahman from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum. That's indeed a Nigeria day. Assalamu alaikum, Abdul Rahman. Your questions, please.
Alhamdulillah. Since I have just one question. I don't know what's the Sharia ruling concerning medical doctors, Muslim doctors specializing in forensic medicine. As I have a colleague that is trying to go into forensic medicine, and at a point in time I once heard that there are some Islamic rulings against some aspects of it. So I want you to shed more light for us.
Medical doctor, what about it?
Forensic medicine. Is it allowed in Islam?
What kind of medicine? I missed that word, I'm sorry.
I'm asking about forensic medicine.
Forensic
medicine, as in...
Yeah, forensic medicine. Is it permissible to practice forensic medicine?
Yes, that's my question.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Muniba from the United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. I have two questions.
Go ahead, Sister Muniba. I'm listening.
Okay, I have two questions. The first one is, I want to give out zakah, and I have a brother which his source of income is very little. So the first question is, can I give him, or I have to give an outsider?
Okay.
And the second one is, should I promise, should I pronounce it as a zakat to him or just as a gift, but having the intention in my mind that I'm giving it out as a zakah?
Okay. Zainab from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Zainab.
Yes, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, Sheikh. So, my question, I want you to shed more light on parents that distribute their wealth before they die.
Parents did what?
To divide their wealth to their children before they die.
Jazakumullah khairan. I got your questions.
They divide their inheritance
Now,
before they die.
thank you. And may Allah help you with your little babies. Okay. We answered Aisha's question. Jamila, a husband has taken a second wife. He wants to put her in the same house, in the same flat or apartment with the first one. That will indeed cause a great inconvenience for the first wife. It is the right of each one of the spouses to have independent housing. If the guy cannot afford it, then doesn't have to take a second wife. And he should not. But if the first wife agrees to that and she doesn't have a problem, then it's a win-win game. Everybody's happy, fine. But if the first wife disapproves that and she believes that will lead to a lot of problems and conflicts, and it may actually lead to divorce, then it is her right to maintain her demand and request that she has to live in a separate flat or a separate apartment. That, if we're talking about the flat. But if the person has a house, more than one story, and each one of them in one story, then he's fine. And we cannot impose on him to take her to another street or another neighborhood or another house. As long as you have a place, you can lock your door behind you, cook whatever you want to cook, raise your children in whichever way you want to raise, wear the clothes you want to wear for your husband. This is the purpose of having this privacy and convenience. Thank you, Jamila. Jazakumullah khairan. And I hope the brothers who practice their legitimate right of getting married more than once, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ مَثْنَى وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ, that they keep in mind that there are conditions for that. It's hard to believe somebody who is struggling to support one family and couple of children. He can barely support them. Then he surprises his wife. Surprise, surprise, I just got married. And where is the second wife is going to live? With us. How are we going to support her? Allah will support all of us. Al-Ba'a, the ability of getting married, the ability, the financial and the physical ability. And being able to treat them both justly, to give each one of them the same rights. So this is a very sensitive matter. When the man thinks about getting married, should not only think about himself, about his desire, about what he likes, and I just have to marry her. Also think about the other one within the boundaries of halal and haram, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed, particularly in Surah An-Nisa. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Asia from Nigeria?
Yes, speaking, I'm on the line.
Yeah, Sister Asia, go ahead, I hear you.
Pardon?
I can hear you. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's a question, but it's more of to ask the Sheikh to put more light to the modern way of things now. The way, when a person died and he has a company or something, sometimes we find these young modern people, they will say it's a company, they don't, the inheritance. So many of them don't believe in either breaking the company or to sit down and gather and divide it accordingly, according to the Islamic injunction. But this is a big problem now facing the modern world. So I'm asking Sheikh what Huda TV will do to start enlightening modern Muslim women and men and women concerning the importance of sharing the inheritance after the death.
Thank you, Sister Asia. I think you share the same concern with Sister Zainab from Nigeria. Ashhad from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam, ya Sheikh. I have two questions.
Please go ahead.
My first question is, can children, a son or a daughter, give zakat to their parents?
Okay.
And my second question is that this is regarding the period cycle. If I have a show of pink blood, say 2 days before I actually start, so does that mean that I should stop praying when that shows, or should I stop praying when I actually start my bleeding?
Okay. Thank you. Ashhad. Barakallahu fiki. Sister Muhiba asked 3 questions. The first one is about reading Surah Al-Ikhlas for a dead person. There is no prescription whatsoever in the Sunnah or in the companions' activities that the Prophet ﷺ instructed us to read any Quran for any person, whether related or not related, especially, the dead. Rather, we have been instructed to make dua for them. Salatul Janazah, the funeral prayer, is all about dua. We don't have ruku and sujood. We don't recite Quran other than Al-Fatiha, but we make dua for the dead. It puzzles me, why do people abandon what Allah has approved and what He likes and what the Prophet ﷺ has recommended, and they search for things which are not supported by sound reference? Why? Why some people insist on going to the grave and reciting Surah Yasin, or reciting, making khatmah, gathering people to recite the whole Quran and say, oh Allah, give the thawab of this, the reward of this recitation to such and such. They say, some scholars say it works. Okay. But we have the actions of the Prophet ﷺ are very clear and very bright, like the daylight. Stick to that. So, there is no narration or evidence that says, because I have seen that once on the graveyard, somebody said we need to recite Surah Al-Ikhlas 10 times and Surah this, how many times? This is all innovation. Dua, and that's it. You want to benefit your beloved person, whether it's a child or a parent or a spouse, a brother or a sister, related, not related, a friend you like, then make dua for them. Just include them in your dua. You read whatever Quran, as much Quran as you want. And after you finish, make dua for them. Because the dua after ibadah is most likely to be accepted. Make dua for them in your sujood, in the prayer. If these guys did not perform Umrah or Hajj and you have an access to perform Umrah on their behalf, do it. May Allah bless you for that. But you cannot offer the prayer on their behalf. You can make up the fasting if they missed any and they owe it and they died before making it up. You can make it up in their state. But the prayers and reading the Quran, it is best to keep that. It's not best for the prayers. You cannot pray on behalf of any other person. You cannot pray on behalf of any other person, even the closest person to you. As far as the Quran, I feel very comfortable to read Quran for my own self, hoping that I will collect the reward of my own recitation. Then when I finish, I remember my beloved ones and I make dua for them. After I finish the Quran, I sit and I make dua. I gather my family members and I pray for myself. I pray for my deceased family members, my grandparents, my beloved ones. This is the way it should be. Not to sit and give the reward of the recitation to somebody, because that was not prescribed by the Prophet ﷺ, even though some scholars said it does benefit. I like to stick to what's guaranteed. A student, a female student, who has to recite Quran while in the menses, that is permissible. What about touching the Quran while wearing gloves or flipping the pages with the eraser of a pencil, not with a direct hand? So if you're wearing gloves, you can do that. Bowing down in greeting or prostration for any person. I know that this is a cultural practice in Nigeria. She says, I don't know how can I greet my parents without bowing down before them. When Abu Musa al-Ash'ari and Mu'adh ibn Jabal have been deployed by the Prophet ﷺ to Yemen and so on, when they came, Mu'adh ibn Jabal actually bowed down or prostrated before the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ said, what is this? He said, this is how they respect their leaders and their righteous people. He said, that's not permissible in our religion. The last, it was during Christianity. Afterward, that has been abrogated, and the Prophet ﷺ said, it is not permissible for anyone to bow down or prostrate before anyone else but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. And until next time, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance and in your deen